So for all the positions in the golf swing that we talk about, the biggest difference we see between the elite ball strikers and poor ball strikers is impact. So with the elite ball strikers, we see shaft lean, weight into that lead side, the body turning out the way. But with the less good ball striker, we see the body face on, shaft leaning back sometimes, poor contact, poor distance, poor direction. So I'm going to hit 2 shots and then show you them in slow motion. But the biggest change we see is that from address, the elite golfers achieve about 10 degrees shaft lean towards the target, whereas for some of you watching, you might even be 10 degrees shaft lean away from the ball. So first of all, I'm going to show you what most golfers tend to do. And we can see, even though the strike felt decent there, very, very high, low point was behind the ball, clubs travelled up 2.6 degrees, dynamic loft of 33 degrees and carry at 137. As we play that video back there in slow motion, we can see everything looking good on the way back. Maybe a little bit of weight shift towards that lead side, but we can see an impact there. Shaft to be leaning back, adding loft, and really struggling to get that low point ahead of the ball. Now, with the better players in the world, though, we see much more of this. So we can see on TrackMan there, low point now 3.6 inches ahead. Clubs travel down 4.2 degrees. Launch angle at 18.6. Dynamic loft has come down 10 degrees and carry now at 163. So interesting that, wasn't it? That the dynamic loft was 10 degrees less as I delivered the club. So let's look at that one on slow motion. So we can see again, nothing looking really different on the way back. Definitely a little earlier move towards the target with the weight. Maybe not quite as good as I could be with my shaft lean, but very different to the first swing. Okay, so for a lot of golfers, they'll say, right, I know at address, I need to make that shaft lean forward. So the biggest mistake I see initially with a lot of golfers is they'll stand there and then just simply push their hands forward, hoping that by setting up there, they'll come back there at impact. But very often all we see is from that setup, they swing and into impact, they still come back here, even though they've changed address. So remember, address and impact are not the same position. So what we need to understand is how we're going to create that shaft lean. So most golfers, elite ball strikers, have a little bit of shaft lean at address. So as a general rule, the lead hand would sit opposite the inside of the lead thigh. So if the ball's central, you can see maybe a couple of degrees of shaft lean. Don't see elite ball strikers with the hands like that. Don't equally see them with it behind, so just slightly ahead, and that's because the ball's very central and the hands are opposite the inside of the left thigh. So no real change in the backswing for now, but what we want to feel initially is that as you get into the top of your backswing, you want to already be starting to move the lower body towards the target. And again, the mistake I see, I had a guy in at the weekend, was very much, I need to finish my backswing, then I can start my downswing. And there's just so much needs to happen in a short space of time that you couldn't really get that. So the first thing we want to focus on is just try to move earlier to get more ahead. It'll feel more ahead of the ball. So get from there, feel you move early. And straight away, you should start to see the low point move ahead of the golf ball, the launch angle come down, angle of attack 4.4 degrees down, dynamic loft 22.8 and carry at 152. Now, what you might see to begin with is that your shot actually starts missing out to the right. And the reason for that is a lot of golfers, when they're squaring the club face up this way, they have that backward shaft lean with the club face square to target. So if you just move that shaft lean forward, we can see then that that club face is way open. And so what you need to then be feeling is in the downswing, you're going to try and be rolling that hand more down. So I can see the logos looking to the sky here. I want to feel that the logo's more at the camera, and then I can keep turning my body out the way. that club face is open, you have to stop to square the club face up. So we're going to move early. And I know it's a couple of things to think about, but you're going to move early and then feel that that wrist rolls that club face a bit more close. So if you were checking that down the line, here's where you'd normally be. Here's now where we're looking for that club face to be much more leading edge, like the spine angle. Not always easy to achieve that straight away. And even if your club face is a little bit open by that early move, the better strike, it'll be a consistent shot and it's something you can play with as long as it's not excessive. So now going to get that early shift and feel that that club face is a bit better on the way down. Feel there, that felt great. So we can see low point 2.4 inches ahead. Launch angle at 18.6. Club travel down 3 degrees. Dynamic loft again down at 22.8 and carry at 161. And it will definitely feel, as you start to do that movement, that you're going to create that shaft lean without thinking about it. Because as soon as your body's this way and the body keeps going, as the body goes, the arms are connected to the body, so it's going to achieve more of that feel. Not that exaggerated, but that's what you need to be feeling, that we've shifted as the body's turning out the way. You're not trying to square the club face up with the hands. You're almost now letting the body square the club face up, and it will feel different. So if you've tried that, and just initially finding that a little bit hard, just make the swing a little bit shorter to begin with. And straight away, you will find that that low point will move ahead, the launch angle will be even lower, the club will travel down, the dynamic loft will stay down, and all it'll cost you is a little bit of distance on what the full swing would be. But you can see even that short swing there, where it felt like I put nothing into it, still created more distance than that impact with me trying to create speed. So shift early. That's the key to start that swing. If you're back here still, it's very, very hard. You're going to catch way behind the golf ball. So you've got to shift towards the target, get that club face better, and you can keep turning the hip out the way, and that'll drag everything round to collect the ball. So let's go one more. Set up, not much shaft lean. Like I said, we're not trying to create it at address, but we are going to feel that we create much more at impact. So again, that was really solid. It's very windy down here today, so normalized mode will take the wind off. But we can see there, low point 3.1 inches ahead. Launch angle at 18.4, club travel down 3.8 degrees, therefore dynamic loft at 22 degrees and carry at 171. So remember, all the best players in the world are achieving around 10 degrees of shaft lean. And if you actually think about 10 degrees, it's not a massive amount, but it is a huge difference in how you're going to contact the ball, how much speed you're going to generate off that face, and therefore how far you're going to hit your irons. And there is nothing feels better. I mean, I'm in the range now, but when you're on the turf, there's no better feeling than that ball and then ground contact. And if you can work through what I've spoken about there, that absolutely will transform your ball striking.